it's beady. A minor controversy came up on the sub, and it just makes it easier to explain shit on a video, in my opinion. So that's why I'm doing this. Let's see. Sorry for the clickbaity thumbnail, but it's YouTube. You gotta deal with it. Then, the subject of this video is Beatty lying? And basically there's a post saying that Beatty went from 6 to 8. I don't believe him. And then a bunch of comments chimed in saying, yes, of course, obviously he did. And then others saying that I measure like an idiot and I should not be the head of this community. Another reason why I'm making this video is so you can see the tone. As you can see, I am not fazed. I'm not upset about people questioning me. It is quite healthy to be skeptical. However, I do have a bit of issues, and I'll get more into it about certain people's antics after the fact, okay? So, basically, and let's see if this video becomes adults only, I am saying I went from 6 inches to this 8.5 inch monstrosity in 10 years. Okay? So, it seems miraculous, right? That's a 2% change in length year after year if I was doing this linearly. I did not do this in a linear fashion. I had a bunch of bursts. That seems to actually be one of the better ways to do this, to be honest. And I've had a lot of mistakes over the years, and I'm going to talk about them. But first, controversy. He doesn't have any photos from 16. I'm like, yes, exactly. From my beginning, I was 16. So there would be no photos that I can show you legally. Second of all, I didn't have the greatest of friends and did not respect my privacy. So one of them saw my dick on my iPhone at the time, and I had to delete anything like that from my computer because now I have trust issues with friends. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons why. Also, Google Drive, iCloud, and photos, like Google Photos was not really a thing yet. And I didn't realize I wanted to put a dick pic on my school accounts. So, I didn't really start saving photos of myself until like I was 20, but even then I'd get paranoid, like, oh, someone's gonna find this. So I literally set up a Linux partition on my laptop and just to store dick pics, and then I accidentally wiped the Linux partition. So yeah, there was an attempt to have a long-term anthology. It's just technology's a bitch. But anyway, I started PE again, seriously, at the end of 2019. That's when I first started taking photos. Decent photos, but even then, they kind of sucked ass. First sin was I was using a tailor's tape. My guys, I don't care if you use a tailor's tape or measuring tape, but there's some very specific assholes that will ream you online if you do not use a ruler. So keep that in mind. I don't see the issue, particularly if you have a curve. It's probably better to track that way. But I digress. So I immediately had to switch from tailor's tape to a ruler. Second, I, like many others, deal with cognitive dissonance. And for those who are unaware, is that your brain makes you believe something is happening despite what's happening in reality. And this is a very common phenomenon in research and medical studies where oh, this is obviously happening, but it's because they're staring too far into it and then they're seeing what they want to see. And I would kind of do that a bit. So basically I'd say I gained a 1/2 inch, but really a 1/4 inch was probably cognitive dissonance. And I'll try to show this to you in this video about how you can easily manipulate photos to make it look like something's bigger than it is. Not that I meant to do it intentionally, it just happened. Because at a certain point it becomes pretty obvious that the pictures are manipulated, right? Let's see. Lost my train of thought, my wife came up the steps. Good time for a water break. Okay. So, I've been reamed 2 or 3 times online about my measurements. First time was on a joke for you. The started because I was doing it seated and they didn't like it. Again, the measurement police are the fucking worst, and that's why we have a rule against them. So I switched to standing. Whatever, I don't care. I was still over 8 inches at that time. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm still gigantic, right? Then, Chupa. So, then about a year after taking pictures, sorry, my dog just busted down the door and stared at me like I was an idiot, which is accurate. But, but when a year into getting bigger, and I started feeling tough shit for, like, making something bigger than myself, people began questioning my measurements again because of, cognitive dissonance, but instead of, like, being impartial about it, like I should have been, my ego got the better of me, and I made it a much bigger deal than it should have been. And now a bunch of people that really dislike me are on a jump for you because I banned them from questioning me on getting bigger. And that's really what the feud between a jump for you and r/getting bigger is. It's the people that I didn't like questioning me over a jump for you. And it's fine, it's whatever. So that kind of sent me down to like a mini depression where I needed to have a bit of an ego death to actually be able to be like an online influencer without looking like a total douchebag. So I reset my measurement style again. Yeah, so we're at like take 3. And I was going fine, and then I caught COVID in November, and holy shit, guys. I was very close to being hospitalized, okay? That's all I'm going to really say about it because I know it's a bit of a hot button issue. Don't want to make the comments all about that. But essentially, COVID affects almost every tissue in the body. It does a huge number on endothelial tissue. I just got the P shot. I was thinking I was overly sensitive to changes at that time. So instead of gaining a half an inch, I lost like an inch, okay? So that was one of the bigger issues lately. So I've reset at 8 with a 5th measuring style. Now, speaking of the cognitive dissonance from 5 minutes ago, it is kind of easy to fake measurements. Let's see. This particularly if you're on the girthier side like me. So ruler should be parallel to the object you're measuring. So that way it is nice and flat and there's an easy measurement point. This is 9.5 inches, right? Okay. Now if I angle that ruler slightly, it is like 9 7/4. And then if I lift that ruler up, just a tad, it is over 10 inches. So what I would do, without really thinking about it, that's the key thing here. Everything I did was by accident, not intentional. I would push my penis down, hold the roller parallel. And then on the photo, it would look about 1/4 inch longer than I was really saying. Again, we are talking 1/4 inch, not a whole inch. All right? People would also say, when I measure, it might be easier to stand up. When I measure, you can see something down there. I would be measuring like from up here instead of down here. That's just bullshit. Like, I could not think of a way to do that on camera and get away with it. What happens is a bit that I just have a bit of skin migration. So since I'm so tightly cut, my skin rides up a bit. It doesn't look like it's sitting flat to the surface, but trust me, it is. I get literally scrapes right about 1/8 inch above my penis from the roller since I've like literally measured for 10 minutes trying to get a good shot. It is actually very hard to get a good picture month after month. Like there's this user who unfortunately his log got removed from Imgur because anything sex related is bad, but he literally was able to get the same shot month after month. And okay, like he gained like 2 inches. It was more miraculous to me that I was able to get the same shot month after month. All right, that is insane. I don't know how he did it because it was like he took the picture from his belly button, but he also like gained weight at the same time. I am very confused how he did it. Hey, babe. Let's see. So that's basically it. I have made mistakes, but I've never intentionally lied. And I would say my peak size, I said it was about 8.8 to 8.9. It was more likely 8.6 to 8.7. And that's just because of, penis down, ruler parallel. That parallax error, that's the big word for today, parallax error. Would make me appear a bit longer on camera. But that's it. I've never cheated my girth gains as much as someone wants to tell you in that comment section that the tape is loose. It's not loose, okay? Even then, I made a log with my min and max size because that's another way I am combating my own cognitive dissonance. I'll take the biggest I measured that day. I'll take the minimum I measured that day within reason. Actually have to be hard. And then I'll put them up there, whatever size that is. You can say whatever size that is, but I'm, But anyway, that one of my measurements is actually below 6. So, it's just, I'm right at the cusp of 6. I'm okay with you saying it's a loose 6 because my base is over 7. It doesn't matter. But anyway, that brings me to another point, is that if you don't believe me, I don't know why you are on the subreddit, right? You will say I'm lying, but then you'll do my routines. Okay? It's just very perplexing to me. So you don't believe me, but you also believe me enough to try what I'm doing. It doesn't make sense, right? Granted, I get I make money off of this, but I think, unlike most in this industry, I try to be as transparent as possible. And it does get annoying, but I know it comes with the territory. That's why I'm not overly upset about it. Another thing, I don't have it with me. I do make clonal willies to track my progress. The last one did not turn out so well because I tried to do it just as I caught COVID. So my erection quality was awful. On top of that, the mold didn't come out right. So it kind of suction cupped to my dick, and then it was just smaller than it should have been. It was the right length, but it was a quarter of an inch. It kind of looked like my penis was vacuum sealed, essentially. But yeah, before I go, my book is under soft release. I'm getting a bunch of typos from a bunch of people that are much better at grammar than me. So first of all, thank you all for cleaning up those little mistakes that I've made for myself. Yeah. And the book should be out within the next week or two. You gotta tell my illustrator to finish up, though, if you want it sooner than that. Again, guys, I don't know. It's one of those days, I will talk to you in the next one.